I would, of course, like you to ask me some questions if you have, before we start our self-realization. But of course, we cannot force it on anyone. It cannot be forced. It has to be asked for. It cannot be done by force. So if you have any questions, you can ask me, and I'm quite good at it, I must tell you. For the last 22 years, I've been just doing this job of answering questions. But this is just a mental feat. And this mental feat is not going to guarantee your awakening. But if you have any questions, you better ask. Otherwise, at the time of Kundalini Awakening, your mind will come and tell you, oh, you didn't ask this question. I don't know, throat is gone off today. Been speaking every day for hours.
What happens if you have realization before actually understanding chakra and everything else?
What happens, Shri Mataji, if you have realization without understanding all about chakras and the subtle energy system?
That's the best. If you could do. I mean, see, now we have so many lights here. And if you have to put on the light, you just have to go and switch on, finished. But those who don't believe in it, you have to say there are lights, you see, this electricity was discovered at this time. You have to talk of all these things. There's no need at all. You can just put on because it's all built in. It's all built in within you. There's no need at all to know about chakras or anything. But later on, when you have to talk to others, because you can't enjoy it yourself, you have to give it to others. Look at me. I don't need Sahaja Yoga, but I'm traveling at this old age all over the world. So you can't, you see, help it. It's like a capitalist like me who has the powers and can't live without giving, like a real communist. I'm going around the whole world, you see, so you won't be able to rest. So then you have to know about these things. But for getting realization, you need not know at all.
You mentioned a lot about spirit. I didn't see anything about soul.
You mentioned quite a lot about the spirit, Shri Mataji, but nothing about the soul.
Spirit and soul. See, in this small lecture, how many things can I tell you? But spirit is the one which is enveloped by the subtle casuals of elements which have made this body. That becomes the soul.
God wants us to live abundantly.
God wants us to?
Live abundantly. Okay. What's your view on money? I mean, if I live abundantly,
God says we must live abundantly. What is your attitude, Shri Mataji, about money, which is necessary to abundance?
Of course, you will have a lot of it. So many people have got it, and some of them did get lost because it's a temptation also. But I have seen people say who were taking drugs, this, that, they got completely cured, their attention is all right, they have started working, they are getting good jobs. So you see, once you are a normal person and all your capacities are expressing, like there are some artists who came to Sahaja Yoga and now they are world famous artists in India. Lots of them are world famous, and some of them were Muslims and they are world famous today, minting money.
Yes.
the body.
Okay.
You mentioned the spirit, but what about the body? Is it a connection with the spirit, or is it separate?
Is there a connection between the body and the spirit? Are they connected or are they separate?
No, connection in the same way as a mirror has the reflection. Body is the reflector of the spirit. Without the body you cannot have spirit. And if you have the spirit which is enveloped, as I said, in a soul, that also contains a kind of a body in the sense, in a subtler way. So the spirit can only be expressed in a body.
So do you actually put more emphasis on the spirit side than on the soul side of things?
Do you put more emphasis on the spirit side of things than the soul side of things?
Of course. Soul is not so important, because you see, those people who have everybody can have a soul. Say a criminal can have a soul, a person who is frustrated in life, when they die, the soul comes out, you see. So depends on the person, what sort of a person he is, what sort of a soul he has. But supposing if you get your spirit, means your spirit shines in your attention, means all your elements are enlightened and you are enlightened soul. So there are two types of souls, we can say minimum. One is enlightened, one is unenlightened. But among the unenlightened, there could be criminals, there could be horrible people. Could be very, very horrible people. Some of them hang in the limbo, I think, and some of them hang around us also sometimes to possess us.
Yes, there's somebody here.
What are your views on reincarnation?
What are your views, Shri Mataji, on reincarnation?
Oh, reincarnation is only possible for the great souls or absolutely devils. It's not done for young people. You see, sometimes I hear that people had said about their previous lives and all that, but it is a possession. It's a possession of some spirit which is hanging around, takes over and talks. But that's not any reincarnation, means the same soul coming in, developing into another. That's only possible if you are a realized soul, or if you are a saint, you are a prophet, or if you are an incarnation, or if you are a devil, one of the two things.
Where do animals come into all this, ma'am?
Animals are under the bondage of God, you see. So they haven't got the freedom as we have. A tiger will be a tiger, lion will be a tiger, and snake will be a snake. But human beings, you cannot say. They can be a tiger, at the same time they can be a snake. See, they have the freedom to be anything.
What happens, you mentioned that reincarnation for the great souls? What happens to the rest of them?
Reincarnation, you said, Shri Mataji, was for the great souls.
Yeah.
What happens to the rest of us?
Why are you worried so much about this, the future? You have to be in the present. Future doesn't exist, you see. And we should not waste our time about the future so much. What we should think about the present, because that is the reality. In the present you exist, and in the present only you can grow in your spirituality. When you are meditating, you get into this state of thoughtless awareness, because one thought is from the, say, from the future, maybe another from the past. It comes and falls, again another thought comes and falls. We are jumping on the cusp of these, either future or past. But there is a space in between two thoughts. That is the thought, that is the time where you are in the present. And with realization, that space starts increasing. And where you are thoughtlessly aware means you are in the present. Then your memory becomes so clear-cut, like a photogenic memory. You are in the present, you see someone, you see some place, anything, it just goes into your mind like a photo. Whenever you want, you can think of it. I mean, you really become so dynamic with that because you live in the present. In every way, you become extremely alert, and immediately you understand the depth of every problem. It's a very different human being you become, that people start understanding how this man has become so intelligent. Actually, it's not the intelligence, but that state where your intelligence becomes so expressive, so manifesting, and so absorbing.
I know a few people into the chapters, they experience feelings, but they don't understand it. Do you need to understand the feelings, what comes up?
Some people have an understanding and a feeling on the chakras. Does one have to have that feeling to understand them, to develop?
Yeah, but it's got to be, you've got to understand where it came from, or it just keeps on coming up, isn't it?
Have you got to understand the feelings that come from the chakras?
Not at all. You don't feel anything. You just feel it on the fingertips if you are a realized soul. But maybe if you are going to some wrong type of people, they enter into you through your sympathetic, and then maybe, like they will make you stand on your head, do this, do that, jump and do all kinds of things, say mantras, this, that, and then they are on the sympathetic. That is on these two things, left and right. Like TM, for example, take for TM. TM now is one of the most dangerous thing, I think, because we had one gentleman long time back from a place called Roanoke near Scotland. He was the director of the Flying Academy, director. His wife was the granddaughter of a duke. He was himself was a diamond merchant, and he had a friend who was his deputy director, also a very rich man, and the daughter. All of them got epilepsy. They came to us, and we had to cure. When we cured them, they told us the whole story. It's a horrible story about it. You see, they're all epileptic, absolutely suffering, and they went to a doctor. Then he came and asked me, how did you cure these people? So, what they do is to give you some sort of a mantra. Now, the first thing is 3,000 pounds they had to pay to get a mantra. The mantras were, to begin with, were three, were very funny ones. This gentleman, this so-called Maharshi, doesn't know a word of Sanskrit. He gave them three mantras. One was Inga, Pinga, and Tinga. These three mantras he gave them. Now, Inga means, not in Sanskrit, but in local languages, means the scorpion bite. The Pinga means when you get possessed, you go round and round. And Tinga means when you show somebody like this. Now what do you say? And they were going on and on and on. And concentrate and keep the husband separate and the wife separate and all that. And they developed all kinds of funny things, very unnatural. And when you go on concentrating on anything, you see this center gets spoiled. They all got possessed. All got possessed. After that, they had a program for 7 days for meditation in some remote hotel in Switzerland, where they asked them to sit on some foams and jump. They all broke their bottoms, you know. And they also filed suits against them, and they got money in America. It's a case like that. But this gentleman, you see, very nicely told them that you have to be very light. For that you have to take a course of some sort of a diet in which they had to have for 6 days the water that has boiled some potatoes, and the 7th day some rind, and 8th day they have to take the potatoes. Can you imagine? And they paid 6,000 pounds for that kind of a nonsense. But why do people are stupid also? Why do they want to fly about 3 feet higher? What is the need? What is the saving in that? I mean, imagine already we are having traffic problems. And this, I mean, it's also complete stupidity on the part of the people who are seekers, who are seeking to fly about 3 feet high. What are you seeking? One should know. What are we asking for? And that's how things have been going on. I mean, I'm just giving you one example. There are 1,001. Thank God most of them are exposed. And this TM is also exposed very much in Europe, but it has not come up here, I think. And I'll have to send all the pamphlets how he smuggled from Philippines lots of drugs for people. Started with the drugs. It's a fact. And this is what it is. What are we seeking? Whatever they promise, why should we go there? We should find out what are the disciples doing. Where are they? Most of them are recluses. Just go and see. They can't even see a garlic. If you show them a garlic or a lemon, they'll run away. Most of them are like that. Because what he does, he puts some sort of a spirit on them. That's what is called as Preta Vidya, we call it. Is the science of the dead. And then they use those dead spirits on them, and on one personality there are 2 or 3 spirits sitting. So such a person for the time being becomes overactive and then is lost completely. It's a very interesting thing that people don't know what they are seeking. There was Rajneesh who was buying Rolls Royces. Why should any divine person care for a Rolls Royce? I just don't understand. Why should they? Rolls Royce, buying so many Rolls Royces, then another 14-year-old fellow buying Rolls Royces. For such a person, they should be equal to the dust of his feet. Somehow or other, I was born in a very rich family, and also my husband is very well to do and all that. Well, I never care for anything like that. I can sleep here, I can sleep on the street, I can sleep anywhere. I have no problem. On the contrary, if there's too much comfort, I don't like it. I prefer my comfort of my spirit. That is happening to the Sahaja Yogis also. Apart from that, a great society has been created. A great society, just like angels. We have people from all over the world, especially 62 countries Sahaja Yoga is working. Out of that, at least 52 we have good centers, especially in Australia we have many. And if you see them, they are so beautiful, so angelic. I've never seen them quarreling, fighting, except for some places where some spirits have entered or some sort of a sabotage has been done. Most of them are beautiful people. So why not have that beautiful life and that promised society, which is so kind and nice? We do not have these problems of marriages. We don't have problems of children. We don't have all these problems at all that you are facing. Beautiful families, beautiful relationships, all over the world, imagine. The best are Russians, you'll be surprised, apart from Indians of course, because Indians have this background. But best are Russians. In one village, Taliati, I have there stored 22,000 Sahaja Yoga practicing. And the embassy in this Russian embassy in India wants to honor me, and Gorbachev wants to meet me. Can you imagine how sensitive they are? Because they didn't have these conditionings. They are not materialistic people. They are very good seekers. There are about 30-40% who are not, who are just doing menial works. But most of them are scientists, this, that. And I was surprised, the scientists, 200 scientists, one of them who was the Sputnik man, invited me for their science science conference. And when I started talking about science, they said, Mother, don't talk about science. Let us know about spirit. Don't want to hear. We have had enough of science. Such sensitivity they have. Just with my photograph. I don't know how they can recognize. They are very introspective. Even if you read Tolstoy or even of those writers, they are very introspective. Even their heroes are introspective. They do not take things for granted. They don't think end of themselves, nothing. They are never in a fool's paradise, I've seen. They try to see what's wrong with me, why am I doing this? It's very interesting. Have you read Crime and Punishment? Isn't it so with the hero? It's very interesting. They have had the best writers, scholars, musicians, dancers, all kinds of things they had. But still, they are very humble, very, very humble. Even their media is so humble. They said, Mother, we are nowhere in spirituality. How do you say we are sensitive to spirituality? Such humble people. Extremely humble. No arrogance. No arrogance at all. Yes, there is some question.
Sorry, I can't hear.
लंबा लेक्चर ही दे रहा है.
The essence of this question, I think, is, Shri Mataji, at the separation of at the time of death, at the separation of the spirit and the body, what happens? What happens to the spirit?
Again, you all seem to be quite infatuated by death, I think. You see, when you are a realized soul, then what happens? You see that it is just another dress that you have to change. You never worry about death. Never. And those who have written about death, Kabir especially has written beautifully. He says that when my beloved left me, means my life, I didn't cry. I didn't say anything. I didn't fuss. I was just asked my friend. I was nicely covered myself with a little sheet and I was lying down and just seeing my beloved left me. He says, but all the doors were closed. But I don't know, some window was open, must be the Sahasrara was open because he was a realized soul. So the life went through that. So you see, the thing is, this problem is always haunt you when you are not a realized soul. You're so much worried about death. But after that you will know that death is just a change of life. It's just a change of life. Then whenever you want to take your birth, you can take if you are realized soul. But if you are not, I've told you, you may possess someone or you may hang in the limbo, I don't know. Whenever some people take birth just after 13, 14 days, again into another nonsensical place. Whatever you will earn now will show at the time of your death. But if you have not earned any good deeds, what is it called, punyas, then it will show at the time of your death, whether you go to hell or to heaven. It is your choice. It's your freedom. What you want. You want to go to hell or to heaven is your own choice and your own discretion. That's very important.
What are your thoughts on teachings of Maharishi?
He wants to know what your thoughts are on the teachings of Maharishi.
I've already told you this Maharishi TM fellow, about him only I've told you. Horrible. What is he teaching? Nothing. What is he teaching? He's incapable. He's not a learned man, no way. Nothing at all. And he has no sense. He has no sense of culture or anything. He was actually used to giggle at people because he thought he's nicely befooling everyone. So he was called as a giggly guru. He used to giggle at people because they were all befooled. So he used to giggle at them. What is his bona fide? He was a ticket collector, did all kinds of wrong things.
What is the best quality you think we can develop for retain self-realization?
What is the best quality we can develop to gain our self-realization?
God's realization. That you will know gradually. You can develop all that. It's very nice. After some time, like a drop becomes the ocean, you become the ocean, that's all. That's a good idea about the future instead of death.